Literal equations. What are literal equations? Well, literal means just letters. So we're going to have equations that contain strictly and only letters. So we have an equation, A equals B times H. And the problem says, solve the equation for H. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of isolate our variable, right, that we're solving for. We want the H alone. So what is attached to the H? It's B. B wants to go away. I want to know what 1H is. Well, we said if you divide something by itself, it becomes 1, right? So I'm going to divide by B, and I'm going to divide by B the other side of the equal sign as well. It's an equation, so it always has to stay equal, right? A divided by B, well, it's still an A divided by B. We still have our equal sign. B divided by B is 1, and it is 1H. And that is it. There is nothing else I can do to it. So our answer is A divided by B equals H, or the other way around, H equals A divided by B. We have solved the equation for y, and the equation says 4 times x plus 2y equals it's a positive 16. So we want to solve for y. We're going to isolate our y. We're going to put it in a bubble. We know the 2 is attached to the y by a multiplication, and that is the last thing we will be undoing. So what we want to do, we want to take the 4x and move the 4x away from the 2y. Take the 4x, which wants to be gone from the left side, and move it to the other side of the equal sign. 4x wants to become 0 on the left side. So it's going to take itself and it's going to go to the opposite side of the equal sign. 4x minus 4x should give me a 0, right? So it will be gone from here. What I do on the left, I have to do on the right of the equal sign. Let's do this. Positive 4x minus 4x will give me a 0, right? I still have my 2y in there. I still have my equal sign. And on the right-hand side, I have 16 minus 4x. Now, number 16 and 4x, they cannot be combined, right? 16 is just a plain old 16. Minus 4x has a variable, right? They cannot be jammed together. I am still now solving for y that is on the left side. So let's kind of isolate it. Let's put it in a bubble. I want to know what 1y is. So I need to make the 2 to become 1. The only way to do that is to divide it by itself. What I do on one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other side of the equal sign. Now, every term on the right-hand side has to get divided by 2. Let's do that. 2 divided by 2 on the left side, indeed, right, will give me 1. So I am left with 1y. I still have the equal sign. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, and don't forget there is the x with the negative 2. And that's the answer. We can always write it in a different way as well. We can kind of switch the 2x, which is a negative, the minus belongs to the 2x. We can take the minus 2x and put it before the positive 8. So the answer also could be written as y equals to minus or a negative 2x, and then the 8 is positive, so plus 8. There's 2 different ways we can write this problem, right? The answer to this problem. That's the solution written in 2 different ways. Solve the equation for y. And the equation says negative 3x minus 5y equals 20. We're solving for y, so let's kind of put the y in a bubble. Let's isolate it. So I know the y wants to be alone. We're going to take the negative 3x. We're going to look at that, right? And I know it wants to be gone, right? And negative 5 is attached to the y, right? They're attached by multiplication, so, and that is the last thing I'll be undoing. So I'm going to take the minus 3x to make it to be a 0. I have to do the opposite of what it is, which is plus 3x. That's the one way I'm going to move it from left to the right. So let's add 3x to both sides of the equal sign. Remember, equation means we have to do what we do on the left, we have to do on the right. What we do on the right, we have to do on the left, right? We have to keep it in balance. Negative 3x plus 3x, indeed, on the left side became a 0. Now we still do have the minus 5y, or 5 times the y, which equals 20 plus 3x. Remember, we cannot jam the 20 and 3x together, right? 20 is just a 20, 3x has a variable. They cannot be combined. I'm still solving for my y. I want to know what 1y is, not what negative 5y is. So the only way to do that, I have to divide the negative 5 by itself. What do I do on one side? I do on the other side of the equal sign. Keep it in balanced. We divide every single term, every number I see, by the negative 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. So I am left with 1y. Then we still have the equal sign. 20 divided by negative 5 is negative 4 plus 3x divided by negative 5. Well, positive divided by negative is going to become a negative, right? Plus and minus. So we have minus 3 over 5. I'm going to leave it as a fraction times the x. I'm actually not going to take a calculator right now yet. So my answer is y equals negative 4 minus 3/5 times x. Of course I can write it in the other way. I can take the x and make it to be before the negative 4, right? Well, the x is negative 3/5 x, right? So I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it before the minus 4. So the answer also can be written as y equals negative 3 over 5x minus 4. Well, there's one more way, and we've talked about it a couple seconds ago, right? Fraction is a division. So we can also divide the 3 and a 5. So we can do y equals, and then we're going to grab our little handy-dandy calculator, and we will put in 3 divided by 5, right? And we're going to hit our little equal sign. And that is equal to, now make sure it's a negative 3 divided by 5. It's equal to negative 0.6x. And we have a minus 4. 3 answers. Every answer that you see is indeed correct. It's really up to you which way you prefer, which way you like it. And that is it. Literal equations.